Welcome back, mathematicians! It's Justin again. I'm at my favorite booth, the slushie stand. Somebody, I'm not saying who, but it might have been me, added too much sour flavoring in this batch of slushie mix. So I need to drain the machine before pouring in a new batch. The question is, will I have enough time before the next batch is ready? If not, how much time will I need? Can you help me figure this out? The slushie machine drains 2/3 of a gallon per minute, and there are 5 gallons of slushie in the machine. The next batch will be ready in 6 minutes. Is that enough time to completely empty the machine? Let's think this through. The machine drains 2/3 of a gallon every minute, which means the amount of slushie inside the machine decreases by 2/3 of a gallon each minute. Would this be represented by positive 2/3 or negative 2/3? Right, since the slushie is decreasing, the change is represented with a negative value. So after 1 minute, we've drained 2/3 of a gallon of this slushie mix. But how much will be drained after 6 minutes? What mathematical operation do we use for our repeated constant change? Yes, multiplication. So we need to multiply negative 2/3 by 6 to find the total number of gallons that'll be drained after 6 minutes. When multiplying integers and decimals, we ignore the signs and multiply the values as positives. Then we apply the sign to the answer. We can use the same strategy with fractions. Here's our expression. We can use the same strategy to multiply fractions with negatives as we did to multiply integers and decimals. Where do we start? Right, ignore the signs. But we need both numbers in fraction form. How do we write 6 as a fraction? Yes, 6/1. Any integer can be written as a fraction by putting a 1 in the denominator. Now, pause the video to finish multiplying. Remember to simplify and apply the appropriate sign to your answer. All right, check your work. First, multiply the numerators. 2 times 6 is 12. Next, multiply the denominators. 3 times 1 is 3. The result is 12/3. Can we simplify this answer? Yes, 12 and 3 have a common factor of 3, so we'll divide the numerator and denominator by 3, which gives us 4/1, which is 4. What's that last step? Yes, we need to check the sign of the answer. We multiplied negative 2/3 by positive 6. The signs were different, so what does that tell us about the sign of the answer? Yep, the product needs to be -4. So what does this mean in the context of our problem? This means that the machine drains at a rate of -2/3 of a gallon per minute for 6 minutes. It will decrease by 4 gallons. Ooh, we have 5 gallons to drain, so 6 minutes isn't enough time. Before we look back at the problem, let's practice multiplying a few more fractions. You've got this. Pause the video to complete examples 1 and 2. First up, example 1, -5/6 times 4/5. First, ignore the signs and multiply these fractions as positives. Multiply the numerators to get 20, then multiply the denominators to get 30. Now, simplify by dividing 20 and 30 both by 10 to get 2/3. What's the last step? Right, applying the appropriate sign to the answer. We multiplied a negative by a positive, so the product is -2/3. Great work. All right, example 2. Ignore the signs and multiply 1 3/4 by 2/5. Do you remember where to start when one of the fractions is a mixed number? Yes, we need to change the mixed number to an improper fraction before we multiply. To rewrite 1 3/4 as an improper fraction, we multiply the whole number by the denominator, then add the numerator. 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 plus 3 equals 7. 7 becomes the new numerator, and we keep the denominator the same. So the improper fraction is 7 over 4. Now we're multiplying 7/4 by 2/5. Multiply the numerators to get 14, and then the denominators to get 20. Can we simplify here? Yes, we can divide both 14 and 20 by 2 to get 7/10. Should this be positive or negative? Since we multiplied two values with the same sign, the answer is positive 7/10. Great work. Okay, let's get back to my slushie dilemma. We have 5 gallons of sour slushie to drain. When we multiply negative 2/3 by 6 minutes, we figured out we can only drain 4 gallons of slushie in 6 minutes. That's not enough. If the machine drains 2/3 of a gallon of slushie mix each minute, how much time will it take to drain all 5 gallons? Multiplying the rate by the amount of time helped us figure out how much slushie mix would drain. This means we can represent our situation by multiplying negative 2/3 by some amount of time to get a total change of negative 5. How can we figure this out? We can work backward and divide it. We should divide negative 5 by negative 2/3 to find how long it'll take to drain all 5 gallons. Here's the expression. Just like dividing integers or decimals, we ignore the signs. Our values need to both be in fraction form, so change 5 to a fraction by writing it as 5 over 1. How do we divide fractions? Right, we multiply by the reciprocal. To do that, we multiply 5 over 1 by the reciprocal, or inverse, of negative 2/3, making our problem 5 over 1 times 3 over 2. Pause the video to take it from here. All right, check your work. Start by multiplying the numerators to get 15 and the denominators to get 2. We can't simplify this because 15 and 2 don't have any common factors. But this answer is an improper fraction. Remember, when the answer is improper, we change it to a mixed number. To do that, divide 15 by 2 to get 7 1/2. We can't forget about the sign of the answer, though. In the original problem, the dividend and divisor had the same sign. So our answer is positive 7 1/2. That means it'll take us 7 1/2 minutes to drain the machine. Thanks for helping me figure this out. I better go start draining it. While I'm doing that, try one more example problem. Pause the video to find the quotient by dividing negative 4 1/4 by 1 3/8. Remember to check the sign of your answer and make sure it's written as a mixed number if possible. All right, where should we start? Yep, we first ignore the signs. Now we need to convert our mixed numbers into improper fractions. 4 1/4 is equivalent to 17/4, and 1 3/8 changes to 11/8. Next, we need to multiply by the reciprocal. 17/4 stays the same, and we change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and then 11/8 flips to its reciprocal, 8 over 11. Now, multiply the numerators together, and the denominators together, and that gives us the improper fraction 136 over 44. We could divide 136 and 44 by 4, simplifying this to 34 over 11. To change this improper fraction into a mixed number, divide 34 by 11 to get 3 and 1/11. Finally, will the quotient be positive or negative? We started with different signs, so the final answer is negative 3 and 1/11. Nice work solving the sour slushy dilemma and learning to multiply and divide positive and negative fractions. The same rules apply when multiplying and dividing all rational numbers, including fractions. Be sure to finish the guided notes and practice levels 1 through 3. Until next time, keep questioning, keep calculating, and remember, whether you're multiplying or dividing, always check your signs. See you next time! Hey.